first scenario that I'm going over is a new puppy in the household. So every new puppy or kitten that comes through will get a little preventative health schedule. Everything is, of course, occurs more often when they're puppies and becomes less often as they grow up. So it can be quite a lot of information for a client. So this is really helpful. You can write down here due dates or appointment times for any of these things. So little puppies, when they're born, they should be getting 2 weekly intestinal worming up until 12 weeks of age. We will first generally see the puppies at 6 to 8 weeks, and we will do either the C3 or the C5 depending on the age, and also microchip. So we have new laws in Queensland where a breeder must apply for a breeder identification number, and this number is lodged against the microchip. This is a legal requirement. So we will do the first vaccination, then we'll do puppy checkovers as well. We will still give the puppies 2 weekly intestinal worming up to 12 weeks. That's it. After 3 months, intestinal worming can move on to monthly. C5 vaccination wise, so we would do 1 at 6 to 8 weeks, 1 at 10 to 12 weeks, and 1 at 16 weeks. So these are 3 C5 vaccinations 1 month apart. After this, it becomes yearly. The other thing is heartworm. This is a really important thing that we need to prevent, especially on the Gold Coast. We've had quite a few cases lately. There are a number of ways that this can be prevented. The gold standard would be the ProHeart SR12 injection. So we would do 1, we can do it at 12 weeks. We would then boost it in 6 months, and because it's a weight-based drug, we need to sort of boost that one. Then we could line that up with the yearly C5. For the rest of that dog's life, we're getting it a yearly C5 and a yearly ProHeart injection. Flea and tick prevention is very important too. We do get a lot of tick cases come in Coomera. It's a semi-rural area, so prevention is better than the cure. We offer a couple of different products to prevent fleas and ticks. NexGard is probably one of the easiest and the best that we prefer in clinic. So it's a tasty chew, and it's just given once a month. Now, if the client is not preventing heartworm with the ProHeart SR12, then they need to get onto something monthly that will prevent it, and this needs to be given monthly for the rest of the dog's life. So of course we would always want somebody to get on the ProHeart SR12 because it's the most effective. If they don't want to and they just want to treat for or prevent heartworm monthly, then I really stress to them that, you know, for the rest of this animal's life, for the next 15 years, we're going to need to give that heartworm prevention on the day every month. A good product there is NexGard Spectra. This one covers against fleas, ticks, intestinal worms and heartworm, provided it's given monthly. The only thing it doesn't cover is tapeworm. We have asked the manufacturer why that's not included, and apparently it's not very palatable. And NexGard Spectra is, they sort of pride themselves on being a very palatable, easy to administer chew because most dogs like it. The chances of contracting tapeworm would be quite low because they can be carried in fleas, and if we're preventing it with the NexGard Spectra, then that risk is greatly reduced. The other way they can get a tapeworm is in little geckos. So if the dog is one to chase those little geckos or little skinks around the area and eat them, then we would recommend a pop Antel tablet. So that just covers for tapeworm. They're around $3.50 from the clinic, and you can just give one of those every 3 months. So that is preventative health. So the 4 main areas. So we've got the C5, heartworm, intestinal worms, and fleas and ticks. The other thing we want to do with a puppy is at around 6 months of age desexing. So especially in boys, we always check that both testes have dropped. because that makes for a much smoother surgery. So when bringing a new little puppy into the home, it's important that the owners have prepared. There are a lot of things that you will need to have ready in the house. One is adequate housing and bedding. I recommend a nice, maybe like a trampoline bed. There's not too much that the puppy can chew on, hopefully. And they're sort of quite hygienic, and they let the breeze under, so they're nice and cooling here on the Gold Coast. The bedding, wherever in Australia the patient lives, must have adequate heating or cooling. The main thing that we see here, well, not the main thing, sorry, the thing that we would see more often would be heat stroke in dogs on the Gold Coast. So we need to ensure that if the dog is outside, it has adequate access to shady areas and cool areas, so a kennel is good for that. The puppy must always have access to fresh water, and that brings us on to toilet training. So toilet training is, clients will generally have hiccups along the way, and that's normal. We always tell them that's normal, not to get disheartened. A good idea is to set the little doggy up for success, not failure. So after each feeding, after each drink, when we wake up, take the dog outside and encourage urination and defecation outside, and reward, obviously, when the dog does the right thing. That brings us on to puppy preschool. So puppy preschool is a great place to learn about all these sorts of behavioural issues like toilet training. We run them at the clinic. It's really advisable to learn mainly socialisation, really. So we want the doggy to learn positive associations, with other people, children, experiences, noises. Up until 16 weeks, we've got the critical period of development where we really want to create positive associations with those things. The doggies do learn basic skills there as well, so that's another little bonus, but the main benefit is the socialisation. The other thing is diet. So a specially formulated puppy diet with a high quality food. So in clinic we recommend Royal Canin, but there are other great foods like Hill Science Diet, New Canuba and Advance. So a high quality puppy food designed specifically for puppies. If we're a larger breed, get them on a large breed, because that has a lot of benefits for growing large dogs. The second scenario I will discuss is parasite prevention in a multi-pet household. So let's take a scenario like I have, of a household with 2 dogs and 2 cats. So apart from the yearly vaccinations, there are a number of preventative health measures that we need to do at home. So in this scenario, all of the pets are adults. So I use Milbemax. Now this covers intestinal worms. It also has a heartworm component, but as the patients are on ProHeart SR12, I'm mainly just using this one for the intestinal worms. So we have the dose rate on the back, which we must follow. In this scenario, we've got a 14 kilo dog and a 20 kilo dog. So they are both able to have the 5 to 25 kilo Milbemax tablet every 3 months. In our clinic, we set up reminders, so that helps clients not miss a dose. So we can see here 5 to 25 kilo is just 1 tablet. Milbemax also make a cat intestinal wormer and heartwormer as well. So I've got 2 3 kilo cats in this example, and they would both get 1 tablet every 3 months. So that's intestinal worms covered. The other parasites that we need to cover for in multi-pet households are fleas and ticks. So on the dogs, there are a couple of options that you can use. I like Bravecto for the dogs. That is just one tasty chew every 3 months. There's also NexGard available. That's just a chew every month. And there's another product, NexGard Spectra, which if, say, the patient was not on ProHeart SR12 and they were wanting to prevent heartworm monthly, that's a good option there as well. It must be given monthly, however, to be effective against heartworm. So that's flea and tick prevention for the dogs. For the cats, we're lucky to have the new product out, which is Bravecto Spot On, which lasts 3 months for fleas and paralysis ticks. So that's ideal, especially here on the Gold Coast. We do get tick cases, so that's ideal prevention for the cats. Even though they're only inside cats, I still cover for fleas and ticks, just to be on the safe side. It would be very unlikely, but if one of us were to carry in a paralysis tick and it got on the cat, then they're not covered and there's a risk there. There are some other good products also on the market for parasite control for cats. Now, some clients do have trouble tableting their cats at home, so a product like Revolution would be helpful for them. So Revolution, it doesn't cover for ticks, but it does cover for heartworm, ear mites, intestinal worms, and it's just a spot on. So that's still a popular product at the clinic due to the ease of administration.